Hey, welcome everyone to a review of the Bose 700 Noise Cancelling headphones. Now if you want to see the written version of this review, you can find a link to my website in the video description. For now, let's continue with the video version of the review, in which I'll be as diligent and thorough and professional as possible when examining these headphones. With that said, let's jump into the first thing, which is the price. Here in Canada, it's priced at a hefty $479 Canadian, well, obviously, and in the US, it's priced at $379. So for headphones that are, just a little over 3 years old as of this video recording, that's really expensive. And on top of that, they don't go on sale that often. But the question is, are they still worth the price tag? Well, you'll find out throughout the rest of the review, of course. Now you can listen to audio sources in one of two ways. One is using a wired connection and one is a Bluetooth wireless connection. Now the wired connection is due to the headphone jack available on the headphones on the left ear cup at the bottom. It has a 2.5 millimeter headphone fitting, but an adapter is included for a 3.5 millimeter connection to whatever your audio source device is. The great thing about these headphones is that you can continue listening to audio even when the battery dies using the headphone jack. So the Bose 700, which I'm just going to call the 700 for the rest of this video, do support multi-point connection, which basically means you can connect to two active devices at the exact same time. If your first device, again, is a computer, you're listening to media, and the second device is the cell phone, if all of a sudden your cell phone does ring, the media content on your first device, like the computer, will pause so you can quickly answer the call, use them on the headphones immediately. So at least it works pretty well there. Although thankfully I don't have that problem because most of my calls are from telemarketers and scams. So the other neat thing is that you can keep 5 devices, at least in my testing, in memory. What that basically means, you can pair up to 5 devices and keep them in memory and kind of switch to them very quickly. Remember, you can keep 2 active connections at the same time, but 5 in memory without having to, do the whole repairing of Bluetooth mode. I tried to research what is the max number of devices you can keep in memory on the Bose website, but they have nothing in their documentation, but I got 5 in my testing and 5 is probably more than adequate for most people. Supported Bluetooth version is 5.0 and Bose advertises a range of 33 feet. In my testing, is actually able to go much further at 45 feet with a wall in between the audio source device and the headphones before audio started to disconnect. With the 700 in the box is a hard traverse case, a 2.5mm to 3.5mm auxiliary cable. As I mentioned earlier, the headphone port on the 700 is 2.5mm, and this cable measures in a little over 43 inches. Lastly, there's also a USB-A to USB-C charging cable measuring at 20 inches. No power adapter is included in the box, as you're expected to plug it in using your own adapter or plug it in directly into a computer for charging. Bose sells additional accessories such as replaceable ear cushions, a very expensive USB-C Bluetooth adapter, which personally I recommend just saving the money and getting a third-party Bluetooth adapter somewhere else. And also available for sale are the same traverse case and a USB charging cable. Okay, so the body is, it's unique to look at. It's not terrible. It's just kind of an odd choice and concept they came up with and applied it. It's as if someone from the product team or the engineering team was at the gym one day and they saw someone doing shrugs with plates and instantly they were inspired and like, that's it, I'm a genius. This is what I'm going to take away and apply it as the build design for the 700. Most of the headphones is constructed of plastic, while the headband is also made of steel, which is inside the frame. It's probably due to the steel frame that the 700 feels rather sturdy, especially compared to other headphones in similar price range, like the Bose Quiet Comfort 45, QC45 for short, which I also have reviewed as I mentioned earlier, and the Sony WH-1000 XM5s, just simply Sony XM5s for short, which again, also reviewed, a link to that is in the video description. Now when it comes to if it's liquid resistant, there's some mixed information here, but I recommend not taking the chance of getting them wet if possible. You see the Bose website, anywhere on the website, even the product page for the 700, does not list any IP resistant rating at all. So automatically you assume don't get it wet. However, on the Best Buy USA website, someone asked about IP rating in the Q&A section. And what I can only assume is the official Bose support account, which I can't confirm it's legit or not, they responded stating that the 700 are IPX4 rated. This means they can take a splash of water from any direction. Again, the official Bose website doesn't state that, so just be very cautious. When it comes to being on the go, despite the heavy price tag, I've placed them in my laptop bag a few times, without the traveler's case, and they always come out fine. Of course, don't abuse them. Something to note is that the 700 doesn't collapse in with folding ear cups. The headband always stays as is. Despite the headband being partially constructed of steel, they weigh a decent 250 grams, which is not that bad. In the hand, they feel a little heavy, but once you put them on your head, you'll feel fine. The 700 comes only in 2 colors, black, which is what I have, and Luxe Silver. Now when it comes to comfort, they're an over-the-ear headphone type, and I find them incredibly comfortable. You know, I've worn them for 4 hours straight, another day for 5 hours straight, so on and so forth. My ears never get hot, sweaty, or irritated at all. The flex on the headband is slightly tight, however, it's not a concern as they're comfortable to wear. If you're traveling and on the go often, especially through airports and whatnot, one of the things you can do is place them on your neck. And well, they're not that bad. They kind of, when you turn left and right, they rub into my chin ever so slightly. The easy workaround to that is turn the ear cups in, and they don't disturb me at all. I can even put my head down easily. And what's odd, but in a good way, is that despite turning the ear cups in, you would think they would press more into my neck. They don't. There's actually a significant gap here. It's very comfortable to walk around in this manner. Even though the headband has a steel frame, the interior has a soft silicone covered foam, so don't be discouraged to read the word steel in the build of the frame. It's quite comfortable. One of the most important items for comfort are the ear cups, which are made of thick, soft, plush protein leather. The ear cups have decent rotation to accommodate a variety of head shapes by rotating nicely up, down, forward, and back. The headphones also have some decent extension length, and they slide when adjusting the length. It doesn't have a notch to adjust the size. If the ear cushions get damaged, it's safe to assume you can replace them on your own because, as I mentioned earlier, you can buy replacement ear cushions on the Bose website. When it comes to controls, on the left ear cup is a single button to cycle through 3 noise cancelling levels, which you can customize in the mobile app. Pressing and holding this button for at least 1 second activates conversation mode, which allows you to hear your surroundings. To end conversation mode, simply press any button or touch command, which I'll talk about just now. The right ear cup has most of the controls. At the back top is a power for on-off switch, which is also used for Bluetooth pairing if held down long enough. The button at the bottom back is used to activate the voice assistant or muting the microphone while on a call. Supported voice assistants are Google Assistant and Siri. In my testing, I used Google Assistant and it works pretty well. On the right ear cup on the front side of the headband slider is space for touch-based controls. Double tap the center to play, pause, or answer end calls. Swipe forward to go to the next track, swipe back to go to the previous track, swipe up for volume up, swipe down for volume down. There are a few more shortcuts, but the main ones have been covered. In my experience, the swipe and touch controls have always worked perfectly and never caused an issue. Unfortunately, passive play pause isn't available on these headphones, which basically means that the second you take your headphones off, content will automatically pause. When you put the headphones back on, content will automatically resume. In such expensive headphones, it's unfortunate that that feature is missing. So one of the best known features about Bose headphones is active noise cancelling, ANC for short. But the 700 is kind of starting to show its age. When it comes to low humming sounds, like say from, sitting in a car, bus, or even my desktop computer with all the fans going non-stop when gaming or whatever, when it comes to the Bose QC45 or the Sony XM5, it's like non-existent. That low humming sound is gone. With the 700, they come in ever so slightly. Not a lot, but they are somewhat present. Now when it comes to regular noise, like someone talking just a few feet away from you, having a conversation, or the TV playing in the same room as you, maybe about 5 to 10 feet away, most of the noise is suppressed with the 700, but it'll still come through ever so slightly in a muffled manner. Again, not horrible, but compared to some of the more recent headphones like the QC45 or the Sony XM5, those perform better. And when it comes to more higher pitch sounds, like say a siren going by you from an emergency vehicle like police or something, they'll come in a lot more than the competition. Still better than the Jabra Elite 85H, but again, at this price point, you can see that's kind of starting to age in terms of ANC technology. Now, ANC can be adjusted. So level 10, which is maximum noise cancellation, cancels as much noise as possible. When you lower it in the mobile app, which I'll show very shortly, level 5 will suppress sound ever so slightly, but allow some additional noise to come through purposely. Level 0 is no noise cancelling whatsoever and brute forces the microphones to turn on and allow all that noise to go into the headphones so you can purposely hear your surroundings as much as possible. It does a pretty okay job. It's not great, it's not horrible. I noticed that anything within about 5 feet sound pretty decent. Anything beyond 5 feet is a little hard to hear. And anything within 5 feet, even then, if you're talking, having a conversation with someone, you can make out what they're saying. It's slightly muffled. Now, there is a mode to turn off all technology. So they just operate as plain old simple headphones. There's a function in the mobile app to do that. Basically, ANC will not work. Hear-through mode will not activate. It's just plain old simple headphones that you would listen to audio then. And I gotta say that the passive noise cancelling of just wearing them, it works incredible. Like, it's way better than anticipated. However, this function is useless. Why? Because the battery does not improve. You would think with turning off all that additional technology, the battery will last longer. It does not, which leads me into the battery. Bose documentation states that the battery lasts about 20 hours, and in my testing with maximum ANC level at level 10, I averaged 20 hours. When I did my testing with ANC at 0, so it's hear-through mode, everything comes through the microphones, I can hear everything, again, 20 hours. With all technology off and just listening to music, still 20 hours. So having ANC mode off serves absolutely no purpose at all. It's useless. Why did Bose do that? I'm not sure why they intentionally didn't allow the battery to last longer. You think with less technology on, battery would last longer. And 20 hours is a rather poor performance. Again, these are very expensive headphones. Headphones in the same price tag and our competing manufacturers average 30 plus hours. Headphones that are significantly cheaper, again, average 30 plus hours. Now, when it comes to recharge time, Bose documentation says it'll take about 2.5 hours to fully charge. In my testing, I was actually able to get it done in 2 hours, which is faster than what Bose claims. But again, a 2-hour recharge time for 20 hours performance is very poor. And to make things worse on top of the battery performance, you can't use them while they're charging. They will force shut down and you have to wait to unplug them until you can turn them back on again. Now, the charging port for the headphones is located on the bottom right. It's a USB-C port, thankfully. Okay, so everything that you hear is through the Bose 700 microphone, and I'm in a quiet environment, and you notice that even then, it's not that good. It sounds pretty bad, actually. It's as if I was talking to someone behind a door without a microphone. Like, that's what it kind of sounds like, very muffled in my opinion. So I'm going to switch over to my camera microphone and replicate a noisy environment, and the camera microphone I'm doing on purpose to really show you how noisy it really is around me. Okay, so now it's in a noisy environment on my camera microphone, which sounds pretty awful. So I'm going to stop talking for a few seconds so you can actually hear how loud it is around me. Now switching over to the 700 microphone, just kind of rambling on to see if you guys can tell if it really does cancel out background noise. But I'm going to pause talking for a second just so you guys can hear if it is canceling out the noise. Okay, so right now I have the fan, blowing at me. It's about 4.5 feet away from me. Give an example if it can cancel out wind noise in the background or not. Bose is well known for audio quality. How does it perform? Pretty darn good. So out of the box, of course, the treble is, well, that surprised me actually, to be honest. It performed a lot better than anticipated. With this, the treble is pretty darn good, even at a flat profile. What's bizarre is that when I increase it in the app, it makes almost no difference. The treble increase is hardly noticeable. Not horrible because the treble sounds pretty darn good out of the box, but just something I wanted to mention. It's kind of weird. The mids sound okay out of the box at a flat profile, but of course increasing it in the app, certain vocals and certain songs, if you choose the right one, will sound a lot better. They will actually make significant performance difference. Bass is kind of flat out of the box. When you increase it in the app, the performance is really good. You get a lot more deeper punch on the 700, especially with the bass increase in the app and the equalizer, especially over the QC45. It still doesn't stand a chance against the Sony XM5s because they have a dedicated bass equalizer adjustment, but this does perform pretty darn good. And the bass is especially noticeable when you're watching, like, say, action movies or action video games, a lot of shooting, explosions. You will get that deep punch in your head. It sounds pretty darn good. Now, supported codecs are SBC and AAC. Unfortunately, aptX is not supported, which might be a bummer for some people, but I gotta say, audio performance will not let you down. Overall, it's pretty good. And again, surprisingly better than the newer QC45. Okay, switching over to the app, you see it's the second one listed, the Bose 700. One of the annoying things is that even if my Bluetooth is connected to the 700, if I exit the app and go back into it, it has trouble reconnecting to the headphones, even though Bluetooth is connected. So opening up the app itself, there's not much going on. You can control the volume. You can adjust the noise cancellation levels, like I said, 0 to 10. If you go over to favorites, this is where you can set the favorite noise cancellation level on the left button ear cup. Equalizer, well, EQ is the equalizer. It's not a full-blown equalizer, but honestly, this gets the job done. It's pretty adequate for what most people will need. And whatever you adjust in the equalizer in the app, will it carry over to other devices? So for example, if I'm listening to audio on a computer, whatever I adjust here in the equalizer will adjust based on the audio even being listened to on that computer, which is pretty cool. Shortcut is basically what will happen when you press and hold the play pause button on the right ear cup. Going over to the settings in the top right corner, this is just a repeat of what you find on the home screen, the main features. The only other things that really stand out, you can adjust the voice assistant, how you want to connect to it. And of course, self voice, which allows you to hear your own voice during phone calls to see if maybe you're speaking too loudly while on a phone call. So the 700 overall is pretty darn good, although they're showing their age. And if they were priced at a cheaper, price, they would have got a higher score. But that's exactly the problem. They're over 3 years old now. and they're starting to show their age, and the competition is just getting fiercer and harder. Is it something you want to keep in mind? Now, if you have this much cash to burn on the retail price, I suggest you go with the Sony XM5 instead. They're pretty much superior all around. Again, almost the same price range. I would hope that the successor to the 700 would just knock it out of the park. I'm just waiting for Bose to do that. So who knows what they'll bring. And that's pretty much the end of the review. So if you found this video useful, be sure to check my social links and website link in the video description. If the like button does help, subscribe, and thanks for watching.